it's Angela here, hopefully with your first guitar lesson. If you're watching right now, you are one of 3 people. The first, obviously, you're observing my personal project. And after that, I plan on putting it on YouTube, so you're going to be the other 2 people. Second being, you picked up the guitar yesterday and you're ready to play now. And third being, you picked it up, let's say, 5 years ago, set it down, going to give it a second shot now, and you're ready to play. That was me, and I'm not going to lie. Playing the guitar can be frustrating and confusing depending on who your teacher is. That's why I'm here, planning on making it as easy as possible. My goal is that in my next 10 videos that you'll leave me knowing how to play songs using the chords C, D, E minor, and G. But before we can do that, there are a lot of other things you have to know, so this is a guitar, but what are these things on it and what do they do? So right now I'm going to explain that to you. The guitar is composed of 3 parts: the head, the neck, and the body. Your body, if it's an acoustic guitar, may look different, or your body may look different because you have a different electric guitar, but if you have a different electric guitar, you should still have most of these things on here. So let's start with the head. The head has tuning pegs. The tuning pegs tune the guitar, and depending on what's wrong with your tune, if it's flat, you're going to have to turn it to the left. If it's sharp, you're going to have to turn it to the right. I actually tune beforehand with a tuner because that seems like the most simple way to me because I haven't yet learned it by ear. But if you know somebody who can do it by ear, maybe you'd like them to teach you how. But if you can't, go out and get a tuner. Tuning is probably really important to do before every time you play because as a beginner you got to get the sound right. If the sound's not right and locked in, you're going to be playing it wrong a lot and you're going to start learning how to do stuff, and when you want to show somebody, hey, I can do this song and everything, and you start playing, you may play all the notes right, but they're not going to like it. It's going to sound terrible, so who cares if you know how to play all the notes right? So that's the tuning pegs, and you'll notice that they each connect to a different string. So this string would go to that one, and so on. So after that, there's this thing right here called the nut. I refer to it as the 0 fret because it looks like one of these silver things right there, but it basically is a 0 fret. The nut holds the strings in place and keeps them separated from each other, so it makes the right sounds and they don't hit each other. And next we have what is on the neck. So on the neck is basically called a fretboard, and my fretboard has 21 frets. I know this because there are these silver lines, but also to make it easier, there are these position markers. And you should have a position marker on 3, 5, 7, 9, 12, 15, 17, 19, and 21. If you notice the 12th fret, it has 2 dots, and it's not a special fret. It's just that, well, when you play these notes open, it's also the same note there, but it's just an octave higher. So you start a new octave when you get down here. So if you're looking at the guitar and you're going, holy crap, that's like a lot of notes to memorize, it really isn't, because you only got to really know that much, and then you got to know from there. And even after that, you really got to know how many are on, so like the string, and then you just got to oh, so we start a new one here, but where are we starting? So it starts a different order. So that is the fretboard. So yeah. So the fretboard also contains strings, and I mentioned it a little bit. There are 6 strings. Number 1 would be the tiniest one farthest away from you. 2 is the next, and 3, 4, 5, and the thickest one closest to you is the 6th string. And each of these strings is a note open. So starting with the closest one to you, that's E, A, D, G, B, E. So, how are you going to remember that? Because I remember when I got taught that and I was like, whoa, you can stop right there, because that's just an awkward order. It's not like it's A, it's just like switching every time, and it doesn't even go in like the order up, it's just randomly there. So when my dad taught me, he's like, well, you gotta listen to me, like, believe me, it's pretty simple. He had something, and it stuck with me after 5 years of not playing, so I'm pretty sure it'll help you. He told me, Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye, Eddie. And I've never forgot that, because that was pretty neat and everything, and I thought I should just tell you that to help you out there. So after the neck, we have the body, and you'll notice the body contains most of these things that switch up the sound of your guitar and help it sound differently in any way you choose. So if you have an acoustic guitar, you'll notice that you have a bridge right here. So do I. So both have a bridge, and the bridge is there to transmit the vibrations from your strings and put them somewhere. But if you have an acoustic guitar where the vibrations go, you'll notice you have a hole, so it basically vibrates inside your guitar. Well, I don't have a hole, so for the people with an electric guitar, you'll notice that you have pickups, and you can sort of pick where you want the vibrations to start. So if I picked here, with the pickup changer right here, it sounds like that. And if I move it down to the second pickup, it sounds a little different. And then to the third one, it sounds even different too. So that is these are pickups. That's the pickup selector, and you can pick up where you want the vibrations to start and make the sound. And next, you'll notice that you have these like tone dials and a volume one. One is bass and one is treble. I believe the first one's actually treble. So if I mess around with that, it makes a different sound. And if I mess around with this one, you get an even different sound. But I'm going to keep them both on 5 just so they balance out. So those are the dials to change the treble and bass. And lastly, I believe, you just have this here, and that's an output jack. So you have an acoustic guitar, you're not going to plug in your guitar, but since I don't have an acoustic guitar, I have to plug it in. So that is where your cord plug-in is, and then you plug it into an amplifier, so that amplifies the sound. So now that you know the basics of what this all is, on our next lesson, I'll be able to start having you actually play the guitar. So until then, remember, because you're going to need to remember this for your next lesson, Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye, Eddie. Okay, so remember that.